money only doesn't make me happy anymore at that point, right? Okay, the business was doing fine, and but why am I still crying all the time? And I didn't want to go to office. You cannot hate anyone if you know their life story from birth to death. So know your parents' story. Know your friends' stories. Know why they're doing what they're doing. Founders, always find yourself first. Founders, find yourself first before you found anything. So that is what I mean by why we need to have this purpose in our life is our money works further, right? The money is not just the profit that you get, but it's the ripple effect of generations that we're bringing to the world.
Salam everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, doesn't matter what time you're watching. Welcome back to Learning Living with me, Ali. As always, we have an incredible guest. We're learning different aspects of how we can live our life effectively, how we can increase our quality of life. And now we have a guest who is an angel impact investor, has an expertise not just in terms of business, but also how to build a business that is also create an actual impact to society as an investor as well. And also she is the founder of IDG Indonesia Hub, right? Inner development goals. And you're also the investor of Instellar. That's also an impact investment as well. And also I would call you like an abundance specialist.
Okay.
At least from my perspective, you teach people, including myself, on how to instill the mindset of abundance. So how we can live our life more abundant as well. And I thank you so much for that, for all your learnings. And I cannot wait to have this conversation with you so everyone can also learn from you as well. So welcome, Stephanie Hermawan. How are you?
Thank you. So thank you for inviting me here. So I didn't know I was abundance specialist in your eyes.
In my eyes and in my heart as well.
In your heart, okay, perfect. As long as it helps.
It does very much. And I would like to start because instilling an abundant mindset, we talk about the individual. But before that, I want to zoom out to an even bigger perspective. As an angel impact investor, so you're an investor focusing on business that create an actual impact. Can you explain what that is and why do you do that? Why do you do this as a living?
So I just stumbled across being an angel investor, which is like 10 years ago. Is because I just discovered my life purpose. So before that, I was doing just for-profit only furniture business before. And then I was on top of my game, I thought, right? I got all these awards, my business was doing very well, but yet I was very, very unhappy. At one time I was depressed and I didn't want to go to office. And then finally I found meditation and I found my life purpose. And then I realized that, oh my God, I don't have a purpose in my life. It's just the business that I made was just for profit, basically. That's why I said for-profit company is fine as long as you have a purpose. But for-profit only company, that's what makes me unhappy because I felt empty, but I didn't know why at that time. And then I discovered that, hey, actually, I need a purpose beyond a higher purpose, beyond just making money. So then, thankfully, after I realized that, and then I told my business partner that I can't do this anymore, this is not my life anymore, I'm gonna find you a partner or whatever it is. It's up to you how you wanna handle the company, but I'm out of it. But thankfully, in the process of looking for a replacement of myself as the managing director at that time, there's a private equity who bought my company. And then from then on, I got all the money that I can start my purpose, right? So then I realized that at the fundamental level, I feel as a founder, and if you want to start anything in life, you have to have a higher purpose in your life, a life purpose.
If you don't mind me sorry to cut you, but you said you were unhappy, and you found that the answer is to build a business, or to run a business that's not just for profit only, but also has a clear purpose. Why did you think that's the answer for your unhappiness? What made you think that way?
Because I was money only doesn't make me happy anymore at that point, right? Okay, the business was doing fine, and but why am I still crying all the time, and I didn't want to go to office? And then the answer is that, okay, make money for what? It was a furniture business. I wasn't, if you ask me, am I passionate about furniture? Not really. Do I like to make money? Yeah, but after a certain level, then what, right? So there is a meaning in life, right? So then I start seeing that business should be something that I can be meaningful in my life, and I can be purposeful in my life. So that's why then I start, what do I do with this money now? Right? After my company got bought over. So and then I start seeing what kind of problems that the world is having. There are a lot of problems that this world is having, and a lot of them can be solved with businesses. Not all of them. Like disaster is very hard to do that. That maybe has to be used with charity money, philanthropic money. But then I look through different sectors of things in the world that still needs help. That can be solved with businesses, right? And then that's why I'm like, if I start so many of these businesses, I don't think I have time for that, right?
Like to be like the director for, like the CEO for all of them.
I wish I can build that kind of industries, right? So there are certain sectors that I would love to invest in. So that is why I pick investment in a way that I start to dabble in that. I mean, it was somebody just contacted me that there's an angel investment network in Indonesia at that time that contacted me. I said, I like the sound of angel, I like the sound of investing, but I'm not sure what was it, right? But at that time, 10 years ago, that was the tech boom, right? Starting of the tech boom in Indonesia. So they primarily only focus on tech startup investing. I told them, I don't know much about tech. I don't know much about investing at that time. I just want to support and invest companies that have positive impact to the world. It was very, very simple, right? So so they were desperate for members, right? They want me to become the member of the network because they're the first angel network. So I give them one condition, very simple. You're a tech angel, find me a tech startup with a positive impact. And they were like, okay. Then they come back again in 3 months. I think in 3 months, but around 3 months they come back because they were desperate, right? I said, I don't want to invest in any kind of tech. Just give me something with positive impact, clear positive impact. So then they came back with a crowdfunding fintech for social cause at that time. It was kitabisa.com. So that was my first investment. That's how I started. So it has a clear thing that it has a positive impact, and then more and more I invested in. At that time I turned vegan, also plant-based, and there's not much plant-based restaurant here, and I see people are starting to adopt. Actually, I was the very few to adopt at that time. Now there's so many plant-based, right? There's so many vegan restaurants, vegan meats, vegan whatever, right? But 10 years ago, nobody was vegan. Nobody cared about angel impact investing or impact investing. So I was the first one to do any of this. So that's why then I start investing also at plant-based restaurant, plant-based restaurants, yeah. And then now they do plant-based meats, which is Bird Greens and Green Rebels and all that. So that's how they turn out now. So then I see like, oh, that's how money can be a currency of positivity, right? Money can be a currency of love that you can support. It's not just to make money, you see? And some people were asking me in the very beginning, 10 years ago, it's like, what are you doing? It's like, why are you angel impact investing? Why can't you just be a normal angel investor that just invests in something that is, tech, whatever, right? Profitable, high return. And I said, well, because I believe that, again, a meaningful and purposeful company will solve problems, right? And those are the ones that I believe that they can do. For me, I don't look at the high profits. As long as I can support and I have profits, definitely I have to have profits, good business model and all that, the team has to be good. But I see the true intention behind the founder itself. What is it, the impact that they want to deliver in the world? So it comes down again to what is the intention behind it. And I told them, the difference is that, they asked me this one question, how are you going to make money out of this? Well, the difference is, I believe you don't believe. That's pretty much it. For me, I believe that if you bring positive impact, you will bring abundance to the world. Therefore, you will always get abundance back.
Did you?
Of course. Then I think one of them exited, the first one exited about 3 or 5 years later at 6x onwards. The other one's also about 3 to 5x, I forgot already. So I exited a lot of these companies already. So that is what I mean by why we need to have this purpose in our life is our money works further, right? The money is not just the profit that you get, but it's the ripple effect of generations that we're bringing to the world, basically.
So people said money is energy, right?
That's what I mean, yeah.
And energy can be something positive, can be something negative.
Right.
So it's very interesting when you said that you want to use money as a currency for love, money for currency for positivity.
Correct. Not just money just to make more money. That's different, right?
Yeah.
Money just to make more money only. Okay, then what are you going to do with that more money? Make more money? More money? What is the meaning of more money?
How much is that?
How much is that? What is that, right? What is enough is enough. That's why there must be a meaning more than money that you can add on to your money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And is that or not? Is it? But so did that help you, or did it become an answer? Does your life becomes happier, or
definitely
does it increase your quality of life as well?
For me, definitely, I feel more purposeful. Like if you remember when I was just doing my furniture for-profit only company, I didn't want to wake up in the morning. Like, what's the meaning of more money? That's what I'm saying, right? So now I'm like, whatever I do, I always go back to my why. There was this one quote that I saw yesterday, I forgot. It was like, it is always good to know your why, whatever you're doing, anything in life, right? But not because you need your why to go through your suffering in life, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
However, not knowing your why is suffering by its own.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah, very much.
Because at the end, what anchors you doing whatever it is, the challenges in life, is that deep why. If you know that deep why, you can go through anything in life. So that becomes actually one of my criteria in picking businesses, early stage startups that I want to invest in, which is the founders need to know their why. I normally, in the first conversation, whenever I meet my potential investees, right, my first question is always asking their why. Why are you doing what you're doing? You're like, don't give me bullshit of like, oh, I want to save the world, I want to do this, but what is your personal connection to that, right? What makes you really drive you doing that? If
Why
they
care
know,
so much about
why do
that?
you care about that? Like they're always like, oh, I want to save the animals, I want to save them. Why do you care? Why? Oh, I want to, climate change. Right now, it's like everybody wants to be climate startup, right? Because it's the most heavily invested right now. Last time, 10 years ago, nobody wants to do that, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Last time and now, 10 years ago and now, nobody wants to be an impact investor. Nobody wants to be a social enterprise. Nobody wants to be an impactful enterprise. See, a lot of genuine people 10 years ago. Now, everybody is a green startup, climate startup, genderland startup, and then every other investors. Now, I'm an impact investor. I invest in climate, energy transition, la 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 la. I invest in ESG. I invest. Really? This is the same person that I talked to like 10 years ago that they don't believe what I'm doing. How am I going to make money? Suddenly, they're doing that. Great. But right now, the problem is filtering out the fake and the real impact people that have the genuine intention.
And is that filtered through the founders?
Yes. I always talk to the founder, what is your why? Like, what is your why? If they can give me a definite deep why, it's not like I'm just following the trend.
Yeah.
Right? They can give me a genuine personal shift in their life. They really care about this, then they have a very strong fire. And
from your experience, the difference in their why, whether it's real or inauthentic, does it have an impact on how they run and then
definitely
grow the business? Or
because I see that a lot of my successful portfolios are the ones that understand why they're doing what they're doing, very deep why. For example, like the Bird Greens scenario, right? I remember when I interviewed the founder like 10 years ago, the founder, I asked like why, and they're like, yeah, because one of the co-founder she was sick when she was in college or something, and then no doctors can cure her. And she tried plant-based diet, and that healed everything. She off her pills and everything. So she deeply believed that plant-based diet can change her health. You understand?
Yeah, so
and
it's
she
more
wants
personal.
Personal. It has to be personal. And then she bring that to the world. She wants to help people with their health through plant-based diet. It's very deep with her, the deep conviction, right? Because I noticed the startups that don't really believe and have a personal deep why, and they're just doing it because it is trendy. A lot of these startups right now, it's trendy to be startups, right? They're not as resilient. They will easily give up. Then when there are challenges, they're like, okay, I give up. Let's change to another business.
And challenges will happen.
Because there's more money here. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're just chasing more money. If this business is so challenging and everything is challenging them, they're like, I give up. They will be easily give up.
That's when you said about the suffering.
Correct.
And now that I reflect as well, when you're clear with your why, when you're clear with your purpose, even that suffering, I would even call it a quote unquote suffering, because in a way, yes, but somehow it also becomes one of my source of fulfillment as well. Because yes, it's challenging, the struggle, but
it's worth it.
it's worth it.
Correct.
That's what becomes
Correct.
somehow it becomes a source of
Correct.
fulfillment.
And that is your light and the love inside of you, and that light is like undying light. It's like infinite light. That's what and I saw this quote. This actually is in a card. It's a purpose card, actually. So when I flipped that card, there was a heart, and there's a light inside the heart. So if you know your why, it's like the light that is infinite within you that will power you no matter what. It's like infinite gas station.
Gas station.
Because if you invest in startup, especially early stage entrepreneurs, you really do not invest in a company per se. Because it keeps changing, right? The business model keeps changing because they're still figuring it out, and it's very risky. So what do you actually invest in?
The person.
The person is the founder. So the founder needs to have very strong foundation, which is their why first.
Even though, correct me if I'm wrong, so without having a clear why, it's very questionable, right? It's too risky to invest in a way, right?
Correct, because they can give up the business. Then what are you going to do with my money then?
Okay. However, at the same time, just having a clear why only is also not enough.
It's not enough. So I have three criteria in investing in a startup. One, for sure, the why. I need to know their fire. How big is their fire? Because I believe that the bigger the fire, the bigger the why, the easy the how. The smaller the how.
In another way, how personal it is for that person.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Correct. The more they're personal and very high conviction and really believe in it, they would go through any challenges they throw at you. Because at early stage, it will be very challenging. Trust me. You want to have why or not, it will be challenging. So better you have that anchor and your pillar and that light and that infinite gas. Right? Because I cannot feel that gas, right? The second one that I need is self-awareness for them.
In terms of what? Like knowing your why is also self-awareness,
yes, but this is deeper. So knowing self-awareness, knowing their limiting beliefs, and then break through it. And they really work through their limiting beliefs.
Can you share like examples, like stories about that from your experience?
So for example, like they know that these are their weaknesses, this is their strength, and they know that they need to learn to break through their issues, like their mental block. A lot of these startups have mental block. Can I do it? Can I do it? They have this feeling not enough sometimes, right? That's their mental block sometimes. So they need to understand, oh yeah, I have that mental block. Oh, let me work on that. Oh, I have this pattern in my life. And they start pondering, how can I break through that?
Don't you think, if not most, maybe a lot of people, one way or another, have different limiting beliefs?
Correct.
Right?
Everybody have limiting beliefs, but having awareness, what kind of limiting beliefs that you have, that is the first step.
And we're talking about something that's subconscious.
Subconscious. It's like, why am I always in this pattern? Why am I always mad at all the time whenever I got triggered about this? I mean, you don't want to have a mad founder all the time, right? So you want to have founders who are mindful and self-aware about themselves. Okay, I'm aware that I have this problem, I have this anger problem, I have this. You cannot be having an angry founder who shoots at everyone, right? In the office, and nobody wants to work for that guy. No partner or suppliers or customers want to work for that person. You want more sustainable company, right? So you need to have sustainable founder. So the founder's foundation needs to be better. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect when you meet me. But you are aware, yes, I do have an anger problem and I'm working on it right now.
And how do you figure that out? How can you find out whether this person is aware or not with his or her beliefs?
You can tell, right?
And what are they? And
I will ask them a series of questions.
Can you share examples?
I would just start with, how is your relationship with your father? That will trigger them. Right? How is your relationship with your mother? Because That is key things that they need to understand. How they answer about their family, normally it shows, are they distant? Are they aware of their family issue? Or will they just like answer, oh, I'm fine. Or we're good. Like very standard. People who are self-aware, they're like, oh yeah, I used to have this thing with my dad, or I admire my dad because of this, or I see that I'm a lot like my father, like this, or there's some degree of awareness of, they have either they have problem with someone and they're working on it. For example, oh yeah, I'm mad at my father when I was a kid, and then I'm like working on it right now, and I knew I want to improve myself, not to be like him. At that time, do they have the angst? Because I have that issue too with my father. A long time ago, I didn't talk to my father for 5 years, which affected my businesses, how I run my business. I was an angry boss all the time because I didn't know that I have this anger that I projected. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of things that we're not mindful that we pick up a lot of the things that the habits or the beliefs that we pick up right now. It is actually our unresolved patterns, whether it's good or bad, from our ancestors or people around us. What kind of background are they from, right? And then are they dealing with it? Because that can carry over. So I scan them not just on themselves per se. How are they dealing with their surrounding? Because I believe that entrepreneur, it is not just about their business. You have to have a holistic approach to them. Their also family will affect them definitely. The way they take care of themselves will determine how they take care of their business. How they get parented from the parents is also how they will parent the employees.
Because in a way it's a good leader.
Okay.
Not exactly parenting like parenting an infant, but in a way it has some positive parenting qualities that you need to have as
Either
as
you have
leader.
a positive parenting or you have negative parenting. Of course, we have both sides, right? In a parent, they're not perfect parent. So it's about how do you deal with it, and then how do you accept that part of you and accept that part of your family, because your business is your family. It's direct reflection of your own family. There is this, what do you call it? There's a mirror between the energy of your family and your business.
A mirror? No, what do you mean by that?
So there was this one that I saw. It's like how you treat your parent, or how your parent treat you. Okay, your relationship with your parent is a lot like your relationship with your investor. Okay, and how you treat your kids, it's a lot like you treat your employees. But of course, you pick a lot of your parenting skill from your parents, right? So it's, you know what I mean? And then your spouse, your romantic partner, it is a lot like your business partner, how your relationship with your business partner, if you have one. So it's kind of like unresolved issues here, you will bring it here. Unresolved there, you will bring it there. So I start noticing this actually a few years back during the banking crisis. There is this, if you guys remember, Silicon Valley Bank was failing, Credit Suisse was failing. There was a winter fund raising basically right now in the startup scene. Very hard to get investment because of the banking crisis. So of course, during pandemic, of course, at that time, business were not doing well either. So the startup investing was not great. So I start noticing, I have friends in the investor side, I have friends who got invested also, right? So both sides will come to me. Some got invested by a friend, some invested in a friend, some like totally not related, right? Both go to me, right? Like both bitch about each other, basically. And then I noticed that whatever, for example, the investor complained about the startup, and the startup complained about the investors, I asked them, for example, the startup that complained about the investor, I asked this one question: who does your investor remind you of in your life? And then you know the answer normally? Oh shit, it's like my mother. She's as annoying as my mother, like she thinks I'm not good enough, la 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 la. See, I said, it is not the problem of your investor, it is your issue with your mother. Same thing with the investor. I asked the same question. Who does she remind you of? Normally they will say the same thing too. Which is like my mother is so incapable, blah 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 blah. And then it's funny, at one time there's this investor in startup, actually this one invested in this, both complained to me, right? So I told them, you know what, separately, they don't know that I talk to each other, alright? So I told them that you both are just a of your own mothers. So you go back, solve your mother issues. Okay? That's all I can tell them. So that brings on the self-awareness.
Do you have any example of when these founders or these investees they realized their limiting beliefs, and maybe one of them is about their relationship with their parents?
Yes.
And then they
feel they're not good enough.
And
right?
then they do something about it. They try to overcome it, and then they did.
Yes, of course.
And how does that impact their business afterwards?
So when I talk to them, then they start to realize that, because at some point they just don't want to talk to each other, right? After they realize, oh, that's actually about my mother, then I'm like, oh, okay. Then they start fixing whatever they're fixing at home.
I'm sorry to cut you again, but when you explain this to them, did they like believe it right away, or like were they like, what does this have to do with my mother?
They actually, I slowly get them to that mood and that mode, right? So they start being reflective, and then previously they also complain about their mother anyway. So I know their personal issues anyway.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'll work on it, right? So then after they work on it, then they can look at each other differently, you see, because they look at their mother differently, and they know how to separate the issues again. But they still need to work on it, you see. So that is the connection between knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is all of you, is not just you. You are a product of your community. Our first community is our parents, right? And then our second community, the trauma can come from the parents, can come from whatever previously. It may be in your previous businesses. Can be in your school. When you were at school, maybe you were bullied, and you feel you are being bullied by the investors. You see what I mean? So it's just a repeating pattern until they learn the lesson. So I always emphasize on, you gotta learn your lesson, because if not, it keeps repeating harder and harder until you learn. That's how the universe works.
And then use what you learned.
Yes. That is actually one of the how you actually unlock your abundance.
By it identifying our limiting beliefs as well.
How you know your lessons. How do you unlock your limiting beliefs? Is by unlocking your lessons. Once you get the lesson, that's where the gold is.
So have a clear why, self-aware, and the third thing?
Third thing is business skill. They just have to have business skill. Come on.
Right.
I mean, I'm just being realistic here, right?
Of course.
That's why I put it even in the number 3. Because business skill, I can teach you. You can learn. You can learn in YouTube, Google. You can go get your business coach. You can go study. You can get mentor for your businesses. Learn what are your skill that you need. You can learn all that. That's why I put number 3. But number 1 and 2, it takes inner work, knowing themselves as a human being. So that's why I teach my friends who are investors or startups. I told them, start seeing each other as human being. Beyond that they are investor, beyond that they are your investees. Start looking also your parents as a human being. Nobody is perfect. When you see their pain, then you know why they become like that. Because I always say that you cannot hate anyone if you know their life story from birth to death. So know your parents' story. Know your friends' stories. Know why they're doing what they're doing. Because nobody is born evil. I don't believe that. Something makes them that way. So if you know the root issue, why they're like that, why are they what is their pain, then you start seeing them as a human. Then you also see yourself as a human being. So that is things that you don't get taught in school. And that requires inner development, the IDG. Self-beingness, knowing relationship to self. But self, there are so many different aspects that makes you like this. So knowing what is the root issue, the patterns that you have, what is the limiting belief systems, what are the patterns, what do I need to break? The negative, right? You want to break the negative. So you're not always in fight all the time. You're not fighting fires. The fighting fires outside is actually you gotta fight the fire inside. It looks like you're arguing with your investor or your startup, right? But actually, oh shit, it is something that I haven't accepted about my mother. For example. Which is about the inner change.
That reflection, that mirror thing again.
Correct. Very simple, actually. That's the secret of abundance, if you want to really know abundance. Abundance is not about money. Money is just a result of your inner work.
One of the most powerful thing that or lesson that I learned, and realizing it and then applying it has significantly improved my life as well, in many aspects of my life, including abundance, including in terms of financial as well, is that mirror principles, that my outer reality is basically a reflection of my
inner reality. Yeah, definitely. So you gotta fix whatever. If you want abundance outside, you gotta feel abundance inside. If you have a lot of anger and angst and fire within you that is destructive fire, you will project it out because it's unprocessed emotion. That's basically unlearned lessons. Is a lot of them are unprocessed emotion. That's why you project it outside. You project it to your employees. You project it to your partners, to your customers, to your friends, to your kids, to your whoever. Sometimes they're angry at universe or God because they're just angry with themselves. So a lot of the medicine is inside of us. The abundance is inside of us. Then the outer reality will change accordingly.
When you're investing, have you ever found someone who's, let's say, they're clear with their whys and they are aware of their limiting beliefs, but in terms of their business skills, you're not sure yet, but because you believe it can be taught, so you invest anyway.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
So normally they need to have some basic business skill. They cannot have zero business skill, and they have to have a thirst for learning.
Okay.
Okay.
So to what degree would, at least from your standard?
At least they can keep the business foundational. They understand like basic business strategy, business fundamentals, like they understand how to read financial statements, you know, those kind of stuff. They understand, oh, cash flows has to be like this. That's it. But then after that, then they will learn, right? Operations, and they need to adjust, leadership. That's along the way, right? But at least not that stupid, right? And I'm also not that stupid. But 2 out of the 3 criteria is very inner for me. Outside, the business skill, that's important too, but it's not that important because you can hone that skill. Yeah.
You once told me about a book. I read the book and I love the book from Robin Sharma, the monk who sold
Ferraris.
his Ferrari.
Yeah.
And you once told me that I want to
I'm
see
opposite.
more people. You said I want to see people. I want
to be monks, or I build monks who buys Ferraris.
Yeah. Can
I'm
you
not
share
against
about
with
that?
people who sold Ferraris and you want to. What I mean by Ferraris is like material wealth, right?
Yeah.
And it can be any form. You can ride Uber, for God's sake, I don't care,
Yeah.
right? So it's the material
Financial wealth.
Correct.
Yeah.
For me, abundance is about having both spiritual and material wealth. I'm not allergic to material. I'm not allergic to Ferraris. It is important. A lot of times, money is still important in the world to create more impact. But I don't agree. I don't disagree either if somebody wants to choose that path too, because a lot of examples of spiritual people in the past is a lot of them are monks who let go of their material wealth, and that's fine too. They have their own roles, right? There are priests, there are imams that does that.
They have their reasons.
They have their own reasons. So I have this, what I so-called, I forgot how many types. There are 4 types of light. Light is like light, you know, light brings impact, okay? I would say light is bringing impact, right? Light of God or light of the universe. It's up to you how you bring light. That's why I like the word lightpreneur, you see. Entrepreneurs who use their light. Light is like their positivity and their intention, good intention and everything. So the first kind of light is you can be a lighthouse. You know what a lighthouse is, right? Lighthouse is a lighthouse. It's like, okay, it's just like that. So it's still projecting light. It helps people around them. Very important, right? It's important. If there's no lighthouse, there are a lot of crashes, right? Correct? So normally these are the people who are the monks and the priests. They're like the light, the lighthouse. When you meditate, also when you pray, that is you're being a lighthouse. Because you're generating light from inside out.
Emanating it.
You're illuminating the people around you. And they can feel, right? If you go to a house of prayer, a house of meditation, you can feel the energy is different. That's the light emanating from that lighthouse. And suddenly you feel peace, right? So if you see like a house that people pray a lot, very peaceful. That's the lighthouse. So you can be a lighthouse, very passive light, right? But it still gives a lot of benefits. Number 2 is we call light worker. People who work to use the light. Anyone. You can be a janitor and use their light. The way you sweep the floor, it with love instead of with hate. I hate this job. It's different, right? When you are sweeping with love, oh, I love this job. I want to make this thing clean so everyone can walk properly. Imagine what kind of street you're gonna have. full of love, full of light.
So the
right?
previous one, when you said passive, the lighthouse, it means they're emanating, but through prayer or meditation or that kind
Just
of
beingness
just
is
being.
already
Okay, so I'm just
emanating.
without like physically doing something.
exactly
Okay.
passive, right?
Okay,
Light
okay.
worker is somebody who work with their light. A housewife can be a light worker too. The way she take care or he take care of the house is with love. Imagine what kind of house, what kind of kids the children will grow up from that. Very different, right? Teachers, professionals, people in the corporate, leaders who use their light. Different result. Gardeners who use their light, they work with their light. Different because they love, they project love and light. Different, the result will be different. Even chef, whenever they work with their light, with love, the food will taste different.
And isn't that in a way, as a light worker, it's like you're like a moving lighthouse in a way.
Correct. Right. You're a moving lighthouse. Correct. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
And then there's a third one, what I so call the light warrior. That's a different type. That is like a light leader. Normally, they will start something, they catalyze something. They're like a general, you know? They're like the catalyzer. They're like warrior. No matter how hard this is, the suffering, I will do it. It's a lot like you, a lot like me. No wonder it's hard, we'll just fucking do it. You see what I mean? These are the light warrior. It's like, right? They're like, you know, like slash. You see? You're just, that's the warrior energy. So they use the light to power up something to fight for good, basically. It's a bit different than worker. Worker is still like, okay, right? A bit different. Active, but this one is not active. These are fire already.
I'm a light worker, maybe. Trying to be.
So a lot of us are different types. We can be different types. Sometimes we're a lighthouse, sometimes we're a light worker, sometimes we're a light warrior.
Yeah.
When we pray, we're a lighthouse.
Yeah.
When we're actually challenged by something, your light warrior will come up. Right? I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right? So they go through challenge very well. And they can start something, they kickstart a project and like they start a business, blah, blah, blah. So that's where normally lightpreneur at. I like to use the word lightpreneur. A lot of people think like, what the hell is lightpreneur stuff? Is it like not heavy entrepreneurship or what? No, it's entrepreneurs that use their light. Right? It's very different because then their foundation of the business is to bring more lights to the world. That's the kind of business that I want to invest in. So that means the entrepreneur itself have to carry light. So when they're doing it, they feel light anyway. Light, as in not heavy, because they believe in it.
And if they know their why,
correct.
A person's why is always related with the light that they can
correct,
generate to others.
Correct. Why can be a light and dark, okay? So be very careful if you know the iceberg, right? There's an iceberg thing. So what is the motivation behind it? Your why can be, okay, like Hitler is it a dark or a light why?
No, it's a dark.
He has a why.
Yeah.
He has a why. It goes through suffering. But was it light? Was it dark? It's up to
And
you.
I think it's very interesting that you mentioned that. Of course, like Hitler's a very extreme example, but I think to use an extreme example is very, very good in explaining something. I have a perspective about that I would like to share with you. Personally, in terms of Hitler, I actually believe his why is something positive. The why, not the way he does it.
Yes.
Of course, that's like pure evil.
Yes.
Right. And the reason why he did it that way is affected by his beliefs.
Correct.
This is my personal opinion. Of course, you can have a different opinion with me. That's fine. But what his belief about what it means to be, what it means to to make his country prosperous and all that, and also affected by the beliefs about there is a superior race and all that.
Correct.
But that's like
so
belief.
that is maybe the why that we presume that he's doing, right? So let's take it down a notch. Let's find a regular person. Okay? Their why can be, I just want to prove to my parents. Is there a light or a dark? That I can do it.
Well, the why itself is light, but the reason behind it.
Why is neutral. Why can be your personal why, can be the core of it is with darkness, because the why you want to do it because I want to prove things to my father. Who knows Hitler is actually, maybe he was bullied when he was a kid. He wants to be supremacy. So knowing the Hitler behind, like what is the motive, what is the pain?
Okay, so
You understand?
I think I need to clarify something. When I said why, I'm talking about life purpose, but it's not always about that in this case, right? It's just like the main reason. It can be right. Okay. So when I mentioned about Hitler, I said it can be positive. I'm talking about life purpose, not just the reason why he did that.
Yes. So a lot of times we come with purpose. So we got to be careful also when we also have a life purpose. Is this purpose driven by anger? I want to prove something, or some shame that I want to cover up, or whatever it is, to make my parents proud, or whatever it is, or I don't want for people to think I am not capable, whatever, right? There's so many different things. But it's different when you do it with love. I just want to do it because I want to transform the world. It's very different. It's very pure. What I'm saying, that doesn't mean the dark have no chance of being pure.
Yeah.
So how do you go from dark to light? It's by learning your lesson, knowing your pain at the deepest level, and then you transform it to light. How do you transform to light? Learn the lesson, break the pattern. If you were bullied, if people think you're not good enough, break that. So that's the key of abundance.
Because the lesson is always something positive. The lesson is always something that brings light.
So, because I believe darkness, inside that darkness, there's a light. A lot of the human heart is just enveloped by pain and walls, and that become darkness. But once you break through it, you learn the lesson, you can access the light inside of you. And that is the goal. That's the abundance you can bring out to your life and to your business. So that's primarily what you mean by abundance specialist. That's what I mean by abundance.
Yeah.
The abundance that I mean is when you understand and know and use your light.
Like embodying it.
Correct. But in order for you to access it, you have to peel the layers of your pain, your darkness that you don't want to face, that you're too stubborn to face. Something is too painful, you don't want to see it. It's like peeling the onions, you see.
Yeah.
Right? When you go to the core, it's the most painful, right?
Yeah.
That's the one that you need to, you gotta eat it. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the most delicious.
At least the impact afterwards.
Right? Correct. And then you feel like, right? Then you cry, but then you feel nice, then you feel light. Okay, then like, I'm ready to do it.
The medicine is inside.
The medicine is inside. Yeah. That's why it's all about inner.
Yeah.
That's why it's the 1 and 2 just now. It's all about inner for me.
This is so fascinating, because like when we talk about, like, if we're listening a lot about building businesses, about entrepreneurs, about investment, very rare, not too many, that have a serious attention focus on the inner process of the entrepreneurs. And I think this is really enlightening. I hope everyone who's listening to this, and just share this to everyone as well. Not for the sake for this channel. Of course, I'm grateful for that, but really for people to really become aware of the importance of this, because as you know, there's like so many researches that talks about so many startups crash in the first 1 year or in the first 2 years or in the first 5 years, like some said 70-80%, some even said more. And I truly believe it has a lot to do as well with this issue as well, with the founders as well, with their inner process as well.
Correct. That's why a lot of right now, everybody wants to be unicorn, right? Why? Because that's what's in the media, right? We are fed that, the most successful is you become a unicorn. So now a lot of startups want to be a unicorn. But do you know what a unicorn is? There's only very few startup can be a unicorn. I have no problem with unicorn as long as you are a real unicorn.
Meaning?
There are 3 criteria if you want to become a unicorn. You gotta have hyper growth, correct? Hyper growth. They're looking for growth. Investor wants that, right? The growth. But in order for you to be hyper growth, you have to have high tech and asset light. So only 3 criteria: hyper growth, high tech, asset light. How can you have hyper growth if you're not high tech or asset light? Look at the unicorn. They're all high tech, asset light. No assets, basically. Correct?
Yeah.
But the problem is, right now, everyone wants to become a unicorn, even though they know that they are not fulfilling those 3 criteria. And a lot, even in the investors, know these people doesn't have this. It's not enough pipeline. Do you know that there's only 0.1% chance that you are a unicorn, actually? So right now, actually, a lot of the companies are not unicorn material. A lot of them are what I call monkey, zebra, whatever, right? I invest in zebras. Zebras, what I mean, people have different terms for zebras. So zebras are like sustainable growth. They are impact focused, and they're cash flow and EBITDA positive. Unicorns, they're valuation game, correct?
Yeah.
They're always valuation, but they're cash burn all the time because they're playing a different game, playing the hyper growth game. I like the sustainable growth game.
And
cash flow, EBITDA.
How do you think it's more fragile?
It is not more fragile. Unicorn is more fragile.
No, I mean unicorns. Do you think
it is way more fragile? But if you have the right business model, you can. But not everyone can fulfill. Remember, if you don't fulfill these 3 criteria, do not become unicorn. Do not claim yourself a unicorn because you are not a unicorn. You are monkeys, you are horses, zebras who pretend to be unicorn.
Well, actually, it's okay to be so-called monkeys or zebras. Actually,
and it's okay just being who you are.
Yeah, don't pretend to be.
Don't pretend to be. But I understand that they are pretending to be unicorn because that is the most complete funding options right now. This unicorn journeys are very well supported because that's where a lot of investors are. They're chasing the fast money, the valuation game, the burn game, right? They're from angel investor until IPO. You know, Series A, Series B. There's so many investors in different types. So it's the funding option is there. A lot of money going there, especially the past 10 years. So if you are a monkey, you are just a regular horse, or you are a zebra, what we so-called there's only angel size, and then there's maybe foundations that can give you grant. And then in the other side, you have large impact investors or banks, traditional banks. But you are too small for banks, but you're too big for angel investor. So basically, you're fucked. So what do? There's this valley of death. There's no investor who wants to go in there, risky, right? So what do? You have to pretend to become a unicorn to get funding. This is where most startups are screwed. So suddenly, even the VCs, there's so many money going to VCs, but there are not enough startups, not enough unicorn. So what do? They get zebras, monkeys, and horses. They put horn. They put a unicorn horn on them. Pretend. For example, okay. Indonesia, there are like a lot of agriculture startup, right? During the heyday. Suddenly they're like, oh, why don't you make, like they get a VC investment, for example. So they want to empower the farmer, basically the startup. So the investor will come, okay, I'll give you this money, but I want you to make an app. What the hell, right? Okay, then I ask them, how does this app help the farmers? Well, I don't know, just a VC told me to make this app so the farmers use the app. Okay, I ask you another question. Does the farmers in Indonesia actually can use the app? No. Because they're so obsessed, the VCs are so obsessed on user acquisition, not user success. So there are different parameters, right?
Yeah.
Unicorn, look for user acquisition. As many farmer as possible to download the app.
Yeah.
Zebras, look for user success, meaning, does it contribute to farmer success? No. You understand what I'm saying?
So why do this?
Why the hell? You understand? So this is what I'm saying. Horse becomes unicorn. Fake unicorn. There are so many fake unicorns right now. Oh my God, it's like, it's crazy. Now the bubble is start bursting already since last year and 2 years ago, because right now it's winter fundraising. There's not enough fuel to
keep pretending.
Fuel all the cash burning. And keep pretending, exactly. So now they're screwed. They're stuck. Their business model have to change, and suddenly they have to be profitable. Now the VCs start learning that yes, we need to make these companies profitable. Now they start learning too. So do you know that there's a research for the past 20 years that the researcher from Silicon Valley, okay? The Silicon Valley is the most advanced in startup investing. Their startup is way older than in this part of the world, in Asia. Or emerging countries. In Asia, our unicorn tech startup boom is probably the past 10 years, right? Our data is not so much. So the data, the past 20 or 25 years in Silicon Valley, that VC, venture capitalist ROI, return of investment, it is actually what they always claim to be, oh yeah, we will 10x this, 100x this, right? That's their promise, right? Do you know that based on research, average PCs, average in the world is 2.5x. Okay, so it's below. That's the average. So for example, a portfolio, for example, a VC invests in 10 companies. If you're lucky, one become a unicorn. That's a lot, right? 10%, which is normally is not that much. Usually 0.1. So we just simplify it. One become a unicorn, 10x. We simplify it to 10x. And then the rest, 3 to 4 startups, the return is about 3 to 5x. These are what we so-called the zebras. Okay? Now we have the leftover, right? 3 people, 3 startups maybe will give you 1x. Just back capital, right? So the leftover 1 or 2, 0. Because basically closed down or bankrupt. So the average is 2.5x. So why the hell you invest in 10 and you can only get 1 and the rest is just mediocre? I would focus on the 3 to 5x. This is where the zebras at.
And usually the ones who are more sustainable, the zebras,
correct,
are the ones, from your experience, the one who fulfill those criteria. The founders are clear with their purpose.
Correct.
They're aware with their limiting beliefs, and they're taking care of them. And they at least have basic business skills, and then they have the thirst, the hunger to continuously to learn.
And they normally want to keep their business in their hands, not in the investor's hands. Because they want to keep that company so they can focus on the impact. Because once you invite an investor that is not aligned with your vision, it will be taken another way, like that farmer app. So this is the funding that we're trying to crack, right? The
Yeah.
early stage zebras that
Yeah.
needs a lot of help, risk to bridge them to the traditional financing, right? So that's why we need to give a lot of innovative financing. We like to have them to be able to redeem back their equity.
Yeah.
I just want 2 to 3x, that's fine. You can buy back your equity. I don't care. As long as you can keep your impact. You see? It's very different, right?
Because the impact for the investor, the impact is also a reward in a way.
Good. For us, it's different. That's why it's impact investors. We have balance. We have balance. We're not just looking for more money to make more money to make more money.
Yeah, yeah.
Very different returns. So we have the impact returns and the financial return. And that's enough for us.
This is super fascinating. Before we close this, I want to ask you as well, is there anything else? Oh wait, actually even before that. So if people want to reach out to you, want to know more about your work, where can they find you, like in social media, any platforms or?
I think you can go to Instagram, I guess. That's the only thing that I'm doing, or LinkedIn.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
Your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Just look for Stephanie Hermawan.
Yeah, you can always like contact me or whatever.
And the networks that you're a part of, you're a part of several networks like Angel Impact Investor.
yeah,
Network.
there's many networks in the angel space, and then there's I'm part of different entrepreneurship organizations. Yeah, there's so many different things. Yeah.
Just search for your name, basically.
Just search for my name. But I'm not that active anyway in social media, so I'm very lazy.
Steph, is there anything else that you think, that you believe is important to share, but I haven't asked yet?
I think you cover up pretty good. You cover from abundance and then investing, and the human side, family side, personal belief system. I think you got it all. I don't know what else.
In that case, do you have a final message maybe for someone who wants to start a business, and maybe someone who has some fun, who wanted to invest, looking for a place to invest, for this both parties? Do you have a final message that you think is
I feel the
important?
most important thing is founders, whatever you want to found, right? Whatever you want to found, founders always find yourself first. Founders, find yourself first before you found anything. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's that foundations they have to find inside themselves. Then you can build anything because your foundation is strong. When it's broken, whatever you put on top, it will crack.
And for investors or potential investors?
Same thing. Same thing. Whatever you're trying to find, it's fine within you. That's the foundation. Why do you want to invest? Why do you want to? It's your foundation. Why do you want to invest in that? Right? And if you want to make sure that it's something that you really resonate inside, right? You know your why. If not, then you're just making more money for money. More money.
Meaning, if your answer is just because I want to make more money, so that's not a good enough answer.
And it's not good enough. Because until when?
Yeah. So you need to dig deeper then.
Yeah. What is it for? Why?
Thank you so much for sharing this amazing insights for this conversation, and for your energy as well, for your positive energy as well. I really appreciate it. I hope this won't be the last time we have this conversation, whether recorded or especially offline as well. So thank you so much for your time, for coming here. And thank you so much for everyone who's listening to this. Thank you so much for listening, for learning with us. And I believe this will be something very useful, and I hope you utilize the discussion, the things that Steph shared in this conversation, and also do share in the comment section as well. What do you learn? What are the things that maybe hit you the most? Maybe the things that you learn the most. Hopefully, we can learn as well together in the comment section as well. Thank you so much for listening, for joining me, for joining us, and again, thank you so much, Steph. And I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao.